Hello, everybody. This is Ian Beckles, and welcome back to the Plant Power Podcast. Hopefully, everybody had a wonderful week. We're sitting here with my business partner, Frank the Kava OG. What's up, dog?
What's up, brother?
How you living?
Good, man. Living one day,
Corey,
one day
Corey
at a
Hart
time.
up in this bitch.
Corey Hart.
I like it. I'm wearing sunglasses, and I like it.
Bright lights, man.
Yeah, no doubt. They're pretty freaking bright, to be honest with you. First and foremost, let me show some love to Cure Leaf, who is the title sponsor of this podcast. Life's about choices, and I dabble. I look around at different dispensaries, and I want to see what everybody else has to offer. And I always go back to Cure Leaf. Like just last week, I went looking for gummies from a few different dispensaries, and Cure Leaf was the only dispensary that had a special.
Cure Leaf's been my favorite since I got my card. Man.
That's it.
Honestly,
That's
their
number
flower is top notch. I mean, it's always priced freaking
That's what I'm saying.
unbelievably.
That's what
I mean, hell, like $15 for an eighth of tier 2 weed is
It's not a bad
unbelievable.
thing. It's not a bad thing. So one love goes out to Cure Leaf, no doubt about that. Now, when we started the Dignitary Tea Kava House, it's a little over a year now.
Yeah.
We had
just
our
about a
1
month
year
over.
anniversary in October, so congratulations.
Thank you,
for
man.
us still be sitting here and we're still alive and we haven't killed each other, and that's a good thing.
No,
and I still have a car, and I'm still not completely broke, so that's a good thing.
No,
That's a good thing.
You know, we've built quite a
No
crew
doubt
of
about
people
it.
here.
No doubt. I was talking to a business associate of mine today in the Tampa area. It's a big business person, and she asked me how business was going, and I said I didn't expect it to be here.
Yeah.
Like I remember us having a conversation at the beginning. Hopefully, we get this number and this number, and we've surpassed that, and it's all over.
It's amazing, and it is. It's hard. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of dedication, but it really is. It's the people that are
No
coming
doubt.
in here that are liking this place, that are continuing to come back every single day.
Yep.
You know, and we're doing our best to provide.
That's what it's about.
Give everybody a safe place.
Well, they're coming here, but the reason why they're coming back is because of your fantastic Kratom and your fantastic Kava. Now, let's get back. I've heard the story numerous times. I've kind of told my story throughout the years on this podcast. How did Kava change your life? I was a drinker. I've said this many times. I was a drinker. Every night I was drinking, and I got to a point where I just didn't think it was a good idea anymore, and I kind of fell into Kava at the same time. So I like to say that it kind of changed my life. How did Kava change your life?
Kava changed my life in a lot of different ways. It's weird because I'm a product of, my father was an alcoholic and was a gambler. My mom was hardworking. And it was just average every day. But, I had quit and I started a life in corporate America, and I built the family and everything. And I was just, living that day-to-day thing. But I was drinking consistently. I was overweight. I was almost 250 pounds, 300 pounds. And I had read something in Creative Loafing about this Kava bar in St. Pete that had just opened up. It went right through, and I never thought about it again. And one day I was leaving work, and I was on 5th Avenue North, and I saw a sign, Bula Cafe. I'm like, all right, let's go see what this is. Went in. Dude, I had 3 shells. I had, and this is the same Kava that I carry here.
Sure.
So that's an important thing for me, is I found that 12, 13 years ago.
And you're
I want
still
to
in
make
love
sure
with that.
and that product is amazing.
And what product was that?
This is all the Naka Kava stuff, the Wow, the Stone, the White Sand, Vanuatu Kavas, which are the cleanest Kavas out there. There's Fijian Kavas, there's Vanuatu, there's Hawaiian. I think Vanuatu Kava, for my preference, is one of the smoothest, most potent Kavas. But I had 3 shells. I had a Wow, Stone, and I think a White Sand, one of each. Didn't think nothing of it. It tasted like muddy water.
Yeah, pretty
it
much.
wasn't bad. Went home, and I had really a stressful week. I was making, I didn't make my budget that month. My kids were little, and I was just like, I could have just grab a bottle and started drinking, but for whatever reason, I didn't want to. And I was sitting at my desk just going, man, it's a weird calming sensation. So I'd never felt that before. So I started going back, and then I watched how Kava created tribes. It's a tribal thing.
It is.
So then I was like, this isn't just some kooky beverage and people are drinking. People gravitate to Kava.
Correct.
It gives everybody something. And it's different for every single person. For me, it was just, wow, this is a peace of mind. But it opened that thing inside of me that had me start looking towards healthy alternatives.
It's a lifestyle thing.
Yeah.
It's when I first went into Kava, I was trying to change some things, but that kind of seeped into veganism and some different things.
Exactly.
But when you're doing this and not drinking the alcohol and doing some better things for your life, I think it forms other things in your world to where you just want to do better things.
And it did. It introduced me to people that were in the wellness industry and people around the area in St. Pete and Tampa that are you know, just a different type of living. And I looked at my dad passed away at 52 from alcohol. My brother had recently died from a dirty needle. So, you know, I wasn't in too good a shape.
No.
I could have headed down that same path, but
Yeah.
Kava changed it. It just pointed me in another direction. And here we are 12 years later. I'm corporate America. I've built a great career, got a great family, making decent money, and I just wasn't happy.
Weren't happy.
You know, I was making changes, I was getting healthier and all that, and then I ran into you, and here we are a year later in this beautiful place going, wow, what's the next,
And it's
what's going to
crazy.
happen next?
Well, I think we're kind of, you know, we're developing this in a year. I don't know if anybody expected this in 1 year. So I think that part of it's amazing. But you saw the beginning of Bula when it started.
I've seen the beginning of a lot of them.
So are we developing like Bula developed? I probably think we developed a little bit faster.
A
I
lot
would think.
faster, because Bula was the only place at the time, and nobody
They had to
knew
explain it to
and
everybody.
and they had to explain it to everybody, and it took a while. When Bula sold to Ross Kashtan, who now owns Bula and Bula on the Beach and
Mm-hmm.
Coco, he changed it. He made it more of a convenience for people to get in and get out.
Okay.
He still kept that tribal thing, but he also expanded. He opened up a Bula on the Beach, then he moved to Cocoa Beach, and now he's got Kava. So Ross did it the right way, and he added notoriety. That was the first one, and then Low Tide opened up in Gulfport, and that was offshoots. I mean, it's funny because you can go around the Kava community in Tampa and St. Pete, and you're going to see, you know, half of the people that I was hanging out with at Bula at that time, they're now Kava bar owners, because they all sat and they
Very
watched
incestuous.
It is.
When somebody opens up a Kava bar, everybody knows. Everybody.
I was dreaming of this 5 years ago, 6 years ago, sitting on my desk drawing pictures of what my vision of what a Kava bar would be. You know, and this has surpassed all of that. But it's like, you know, wow, what are we going to do next? I mean, and that's the exciting part, is because we're revolutionizing it in the way that we've got the cannabis stock in house. You know, we've got the lounge out back. We're doing things that other bars aren't necessarily doing. So that's what's beautiful, is we're kind of changing and giving our own little niche to it, which is what you need to do. And that's why I encourage every Kava bar. Anybody that opens a Kava bar or a botanical tea bar, find what works for you.
Correct.
Have your own personality. Get your tribe, and then just promote the community.
Well, you told me that we were going to develop a tribe, and we've already done that. If for somebody wants to get into, you know, Kava, somebody like a drinker like myself, that I used to be, somebody says, I want to get into Kava, how would you suggest they break into the Kava world?
Kava is something that you got to just go sit and try it. It's not something you're going to go to a Kava bar and buy, you know, a quart or a half gallon of Kava and go home and drink it and actually understand it. It's something, it's the whole package. It's mind, body, and spirit. In the islands, it's all about culture. It's all about family. All their ceremonies and rituals are bound with Kava in the South Pacific. And it's part of their religion. I know Fijian guys that are in the military that are allowed a certain amount of Kava every month per their rations as a military ration, because it's part of their culture.
Really?
And that's that's very, very important.
No
and
doubt.
that's what we try to hear. I want to promote it. I want to celebrate it. I want people, because it's an energy thing. You go to a Kava bar, sit down, meet the people. You can have a conversation in a Kava bar with a complete stranger at the drop of a hat.
It happens every day.
Yeah, every day, and it's a diverse community.
Correct.
I mean, you've got everybody from all walks of life. Kava has a way of making that kind of social anxiety go away, and makes people more communicative, and it's great. It's good to see, because people form lifelong bonds. I'm waiting to see who our first Kava baby is going to be.
I asked the same question the other day. I think it's going to be coming soon. If it's already isn't percolating,
never know,
it might be
man.
percolating out there already. You never know about that. Now, what do you think? Like, listen, once again, Kava is a beautiful thing. It's working for me. It's working for you. There's a lot of Kava bars. No, actually, not a lot of Kava bars that are compared to other bars.
Yeah.
What would you say sets the Dignitary Tea and Kava House apart from everything else, other than just the other amenities you were talking about? What about the actual product itself? What sets our product apart from everybody else's?
I'm anal, very anal about the product. I want to make sure I have the best sources for my Kava. I want fresh Kava every single day. That's why we only make 1 gallon batches at a time, and it's always going to be fresh. That's super important to me. The botanical teas, I use that almost in a medicinal, and it is a medicinal tea. Kratom is meant to heal. It's meant to help. So I'm brewing with turmeric and cinnamon and anti-inflammatory stuff that really brings out the medicinal property of it. It's not just a tea that's going to get you buzzed and make you go. It's going to actually make you feel good,
Sure.
inside and out. You know.
What's amazing is the people that I expose it to, they always come back. They go, "Man, that stuff really worked."
Yeah.
Like Mark Rose is a great example.
everybody,
Mark Rose is a
yeah.
great example. A former teammate
I
of
was
mine.
a skeptic. I never liked it when I first
I
tried
was.
it.
I think
yeah.
you have to be skeptical.
Yeah.
You get that way as you get older. Okay.
absolutely.
We're all cynical. We're skeptical. You're supposed to be. You got to prove to me something.
Yeah.
And listen, we're over a year in this thing,
Yeah.
and I'm still drinking every darn day.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty much proven to this
Yeah.
point. And I'm to a point now where, when people talk about alcohol, I don't want to say I'm against alcohol. I just don't want to drink it.
Well, and that's the thing.
You know what
I'm
I mean?
not against alcohol. I mean, and honestly, if I was in an environment where there was alcohol, I'd probably have a beer or two. But that's the beauty of it all is
Exactly.
that you can now say, okay, I'm going to have a beer or two, and then not do it again
And
for
you're
6 or 7
fine.
months.
Yes, you're
you know?
fine. Exactly.
People that have that issue can have 1 or 2 beers, and then next thing it's 6 or 10 beers, and it's 12
Correct.
or 30, and that's where
Correct.
the problem. And this kind of just changes that. It takes that craving away
Mm-hmm.
in a weird, almost subconscious way.
Sure.
Because it wasn't anything I really tried to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I just knew that this was better for me, and this made me feel good, and I wasn't making stupid decisions. And
that might be the most
my
important.
wife likes me now.
How about that?
Sometimes.
That's a good thing. I wish I'd got Kava earlier. Maybe I'd have still been married, but you never know. But we were probably the most marijuana-friendly Kava bar out there for sure. Not probably. We definitely are. When you walk in this place, you could feel the herbal love in here. We do sell other things, like we have the Token Tools now. Our people from Token Tools, we're selling their product now. I fell in love with this product ages ago. My guy DJ. It's the easiest thing to use. It's just a mason jar, everybody. Look how easy this is. It's a mason jar. You fill it with a little bit of water. Real easy. And then they have this little tool where you can stick it in there and you can put your pre-roll in there. Boom. You go to Cure Leaf, put your pre-roll in there. You're hitting it up real easy, and it's a beautiful thing. So we have stuff like this. We have rolling papers and some different smoking accessories as well. So these are some things that we're expanding at Dignitary Tea Kava House.
We've also got that line of Havana hemp.
Correct.
Delta 8 products. It's actually Delta 8. We've got some Delta 9 products, which is actual THC, but it's legal because it's by weight. So it's something that you can try. We've got gummies. We got a actual gummy blend that just came in, a new gummy blend from those guys. It's 150 milligrams per piece, and it's a full spectrum Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, and THCO gummy.
I have to try that myself.
Yeah, they're potent.
No doubt about that.
And they're cheap. I mean, a 2-piece pack is $12, and that's 300 milligrams of freaking full spectrum.
Of love. There you go.
Yeah,
so for people who haven't been here before, Dignitary Tea and Kava House, how would you? And I'm looking out here right now at the people that are sitting at the bar, and everybody's kind of different. Hey, people. How would you explain the type of person that comes today? This is gonna be. I can't wait to hear what you say. What type of person frequents the Dignitary Tea and Kava House?
I don't think you can stereotype anybody. It's just. And I was having a conversation with a guy at another kava bar earlier, and we were talking about the community and how diverse. It's probably one of the most diverse communities.
I would have to say it has to be. It doesn't discriminate at all. The
guy that I was talking to just left a 15, 20-year career in defense contracting because he was anti-war. He said, I did it for the $100,000 paycheck, but once I started going to a kava bar, I quit. I couldn't agree with their wars anymore, so I left that job to go work in IT somewhere.
Isn't that crazy?
But that's... It is.
We have lawyers in here. We have doctors. We have engineers. We have laborers. We have
professors.
We have a lot of very creative people here too.
That's one thing about kava. It does. It does attract creative people.
Correct. Yes.
It really does. There's so many different things, and everything from spiritually creative on up to actual, art creative and all of that. Musical, we get great music in here. We've got our night market coming up here too, November 12th, Saturday. It's going to be a great time. DJ's putting it together. We're going to have a live DJ set up out here. We're going to have vendors. We're going to have a food truck. Kava specials, Kratom specials, all of that going on.
It was a great feel last time.
Yeah, that was a great night.
It was a really good. Everybody was in a good mood and walking around and just feeling good about themselves. So what's the date for that again?
November 12th.
Okay.
Saturday, November 12th.
Bring your people. November 12th is on a Saturday, and kind of hang out all day long, and we'll kick it off at the end of the night.
It's going to be an all-day
thing. The lounge outside was pretty packed up that night.
I might even actually look at maybe setting up a table outside bar for for this event.
Let's rock
we'll
and
have
roll.
Indoor, outdoor.
Let's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right, love you, man.
Let's continue to rock and
Appreciate
roll.
you.
Let's do another year or 10. How about that?
Let's do, fuck, man. I want 5 years down the road. I want to be driving across the country telling people about Dignitary and visiting the other locations.
I'll be right next to you.
Sounds good.
We'll be back with Tom Ponzo on the other end.
Peace, guys.
Welcome back to the Plant Power Podcast, and once again, I want to show some love to Curaleaf. And I was just there today, actually, and actually, I think I'm there right now. I'm there too often. There's Curaleafs everywhere, and they're popping up absolutely everywhere. So I'm not gonna. When I first started doing this webcast, I was saying we have this many Curaleafs, and now I have no idea how many Curaleafs there are. They're everywhere, and they're literally popping up everywhere.
Over 50 in Florida.
It's over 50.
Over 50 in Florida.
Well, they're coming up, and whoever is number one, they're going after them. That's all I know. That is a fact. I brought my man Tom Ponzo here, and he breaks down things scientifically for me because I'm no scientist. I'm just a voice and a pretty
Neither
face.
am I. I'm not a scientist
No,
either.
well, we're weedologists, so to speak. So I'd like you to break down some strains for me. So I had you break down a strain. What did you break down for me this week?
Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers. It was a
Wedding
great movie
Crashers.
too.
Yes.
Great movie.
It's a hybrid strain. Curaleaf has some on sale as they do every week. It's a hybrid of Purple Punch and Wedding Cake.
Okay.
And what users report back is it helps relieve anxiety and stress and depression. And it makes them more focused and clear and uplifted and very happy. I can report the same things when I've tried it. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice mellow high, but it made me more focused. I was able to do a lot more, perform a lot more. And you know, sometimes when you smoke weed, you tend to forget things, or you just like, you know, you're doing one thing and then a second later it's like, what was I just doing?
Sure.
You know, this doesn't do that.
Well,
I could be getting older too.
Sure, well, that is a fact. But I wonder, like, when people say I forget and I'm concentrating, like I don't know why I smoke weed. So, like, you don't smoke weed because, like, I used to smoke weed because I'm doing something, or because I'm doing. Now it's not about that.
Was there a reason that you started smoking weed? You said you just don't smoke. You don't smoke it for anything.
Well, I just smoke it now because it's what I do. I think I don't necessarily get all that high anymore. It's just some.
Your tolerance is built up way
Well,
high.
of course it is.
Yeah.
That's the way the world works.
Yeah.
And you asked me the reason why I started smoking weed. Because everybody else was smoking it. Like, I think that's the answer. I mean, I didn't start smoking until I was 35 years old, and I watched people smoke my whole darn life, and they looked like they were enjoying the hell out of it. And I couldn't smoke because of football.
Right.
And when I got out of football, I was like, man, let me try out what everybody was, talking about. And I finally tried it, and probably a good thing I didn't try it while I was playing.
Yeah.
I may not be here right now. Because, you know what I mean? Because I saw a lot of guys get popped for marijuana. And listen, it's not illegal really anymore in the NFL.
Right.
But I'm not going to take away. If you get popped for marijuana in the NFL, you lose millions of dollars. You're effing stupid.
Look at a guy like Josh Gordon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that wasted a lot of money. And like, I don't believe you can be addicted to marijuana anyways. I really don't.
No, because you can stop and you're not craving
That's
it
what
the
I'm
next
saying.
day.
I smoke it every single
Yeah.
day. If you say, Ian, stop today for a month, I'll stop for a month. And I'll probably end up doing something else stupid that's not good for me, if you know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So you thumbs up to the strain?
Thumbs up to the strain, absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yes, no question.
Now, there's been some other things going on in the news. I'm an Instagram guy. I don't really mess with Twitter and Facebook, although I'm part of it, but I don't mess with it. But Instagram was everywhere last week. Everything was Circle K. Circle K is now going to be selling marijuana in Florida and some other states. Now, how the hell does Circle K come out and say they're going to be selling marijuana before it's recreational in a state? Is that foreshadowing, or what is that?
No, it's not recreational whatsoever.
So
it's medical. So what this company did, it's a Chicago-based company called Green Thumb. They went into partnership with Circle K to open in 10 areas across Florida side marijuana shops where
I get it.
They have separate entrances
gorgeous.
to go into the building where the Circle K is. Apparently, they're saying that it can't be part of the inside of the store. Like, you have a soda section inside the store.
Yeah,
You can't have a marijuana section there. So it's going to be a separate entrance, a separate store, but it's going to be housed inside a Circle K.
Brilliant.
In 10 areas here in Florida.
Really?
Medical marijuana only for the time being.
So what you're saying is they're not really inventing the wheel. They're just
No.
really putting a dispensary outside of a Circle K.
Correct, and the dispensary is called Rise. I think there are one or two.
Yeah, there's a few Rises
there are a
around
few
here.
Rises around here, but they're going to be called Rise Express to kind of match the convenience of Circle K convenience store. However, au contraire, mon frère.
Let's hear it.
There was a story today. Florida pumps the brake on Circle K's medical marijuana deal. And basically what it is, it's just a Department of Health thing where they said, well, you know, we haven't approved this yet.
Yeah.
So it has to go through the Department of Health. I'm sure there are some standards they have to meet and all that kind of stuff before they can actually put the okay on the deal.
Sure. Now, that's the way it's going to be with anything that's new in marijuana.
Sure.
You're going to be the first one to do it. They're going to pump the brakes. You're going to push the envelope, and you know there'll be an issue. But like we have a Circle K right next to us.
Yes, we do.
You know what I'm saying? So how do they pick which? You know how do they pick which Circle K?
No, they haven't picked which Circle K's yet. That's
Well,
still
put in a
up
vote for the Circle K
grabs.
right here.
I agree with you.
You know what I mean? That'd be nice to have a dispensary right next door.
Walk over.
Right?
Yeah, would be.
Because when everything does come to the next level, we're hoping this building here is going to be selling marijuana in some capacity.
We hope so. That's
know,
what we're hoping for with legalization.
Well, that's what we're moving towards. and,
Unquestionably.
you know, we already have the consumption lounge outside, and we're like I said, we're about as weed friendly as it comes as far as kava bars or just any bar known to man. Because listen, as a former drinker, nothing is worse than marijuana and beer and alcohol together. It just doesn't mix. Okay.
I've got many stories about that.
I got stories
man.
too, and none of them are good.
Many
Okay,
stories
so
about that.
to me, this is the perfect place to be a consumption lounge with the Kratom, with the kava. It kind of all goes together, and
Unquestionably.
it's all one. It's a beautiful, it's all kumbaya. Now, there's another story that I saw in the news. Psychedelics. Okay, psychedelics is a new thing. Have you dabbled, if I may ask?
I have dabbled in
Okay.
psychedelics, yes.
I'm a dabbler myself. Okay, I'm not deep in it. I dabble. I don't know where I am with them. Sometimes I'm positive. Sometimes I don't know if I'm not doing it right, or I don't know, but I'm not into it yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm still messing with it.
Depends on how much you take, too.
I think that's what it's about.
Your size is
Yeah, and
definitely
listen,
holding back. You might have
like-
to take a little more to get.
Yeah, like everything in the world, you have a dosage that's going to make you feel good, and there's going to be a dosage that makes you feel high. You just got to kind of find
where that level
your
is.
safe, your safe haven is. But what are they saying about psychedelics? They're saying now that that's coming right around the corner, is it not?
Potentially.
Yeah.
There are some states like Oregon who have it legalized for recreational
Is it
use.
legal?
I believe
in
it
Oregon?
is,
Wow,
yes.
unbelievable.
And it's right now that's in kind of like an experimental stage. So there's a policy person who worked on the Oregon laws who is going to work on drafting a bill here in Florida to try to kind of get in front of the federal government approving it, taking it off the Schedule 1 list and using it more for therapeutic purposes to help with PTSD, depression, anxiety, things like that.
If you really think about it, I don't know why it should be banned for people with PTSD. And you could put psychedelics in the same category as marijuana, for me. Okay, it shouldn't be with LSD and heroin and things like that.
There have been a lot of positive effects.
A lot.
Helping PTSD people
Correct.
with
Correct.
Their issues. And they say the drug opens up certain levels in their brains, allowing one side to communicate with the other and help them get over some of those issues.
Go and read up and watch some videos on psychedelics and mushrooms. They do amazing things for your brain. I'm not telling you to go out and do it. Just read up on it, because I think my perception of it before I looked into it was way off.
I can recommend a show on Netflix. It's called How to Change Your Mind.
Okay.
It's 4 episodes. Each one discusses a certain psychedelic. There's
check
one
that
on
out.
one on mushrooms, one on LSD, one on MDMA, and the other
Okay.
one was on peyote.
Okay, perfect.
Really fascinating stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And the last thing let's touch on here is safe banking. What are they saying with safe banking now? Because I've heard in the past that if you have a marijuana company, there's a lot of banks that don't want to mess with you. Where are they with the safe banking?
Okay, right now we're coming up toward the end of the year, post-election season. They call that a lame duck session.
Okay.
So in the lame duck session, what I guess the ruling House of Congress, they try to push more bills across before the new
Yes, they do.
Congress comes in. So there's a bill right now called the Safe Banking Act, and what it will do, Cory Booker is very strongly behind the senator from New Jersey.
Cory Booker, yeah.
Yeah, what it'll do, it'll basically prevent or allow banks not to be prosecuted federally for going into business with marijuana companies.
Which is absolutely ridiculous.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. And that opens up a whole
lot, yeah.
just a whole new world
Yeah.
for the industry here in Florida especially. You can now pay with a credit card. You wouldn't even have to use cash or can pay or any other type, or take it out of your debit card or whatnot and charge you fees for that.
What a mess to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, right now you're having people doing something legally, and they can't use a credit card.
Yeah.
What country is this?
I don't understand.
In a lot of ways, I look and I go, what are we doing exactly? In a lot of ways, there's a lot of things we do that are actually backwards.
Yeah, and there are some places where cash is king, and there are other places where they don't even accept cash anymore either.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, well.
And we don't accept cash either.
Yeah, exactly. You don't, and a lot.
But it's not because the government says we can't
No.
use banking. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's for other reasons.
Right, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, but it's just to a point now where I'm just hoping that the government is watching and listening, and I don't know who's going to finally do it. I know Joe Biden kind of did. I guess made the biggest move for a president.
Right, he wants to take cannabis. Yeah. They're looking into Schedule 1 status of cannabis.
And where that leads to, I don't know. And
hopefully it leads to them dropping it off that list.
Well, I mean, is it going to take the president starting that up? I don't know.
The president just sends out the word, and then other people do the work for him, obviously. So,
well, like everything else,
that's where it's going. Yeah,
like everything else that the president does, pretty much. And I'm not dogging this president. I think they're all pieces of crap. But anyways, that's just me. If I was the president, it would be legal immediately.
Immediately,
and I'd be shot the next day, probably.
You could probably write an executive order saying, "Hey, I'm taking cannabis off Schedule 1."
Yeah, when I get up in the White House and I'm sitting there with a blunt. In my first press conference.
Like John Kennedy.
Yeah, so I'll either get fired or shot the next day. But we will be legal, though.
Yes,
that'd be the one thing. I'm like, Ian, he died. One day he was shot, but for God's sakes, recreational is countrywide.
Sweeping the country. I'm hoping it comes
soon. It has to. It has to. It's time. It's definitely time.
It is time.
Now, for those of you that haven't heard the news, I'm no longer on 95.3, so this is the way you get to see me now. So either do this or listen to my In the Trenches podcast. And listen, I'm going to kind of mess with all my passions now. You can come to Dignitary Tea Kava House. I'm always here. I won't be on the radio for the next little while, probably 3 months or so, and then I'll reappear somewhere. I don't make any predictions, but...
check the Ian Beckles Show YouTube page, okay?
Go,
we're going to have all of his stuff that he's going to do here, like this podcast and the In the Trenches podcast and possibly some other ones.
There's going to be a lot of other things.
We're going to figure that out, but that's going to be on the YouTube page, Ian Beckles Show.
Stay tuned, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Get out there and smoke something delicious. I know we are.
Peace.
Peace out, everybody.